And we're back in the room once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once more to the gift that keeps on giving. Of course, I'm talking about the Cayman Show. YouTube users, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You know the drill by now. And if you're listening elsewhere, jump on YouTube. Do yourselves a treat. Anyway, back in the room, as I said, joining me today is a wrestling superstar. And I don't use the word superstar lightly. Joining me today is my friend, your friend, my wrestling compadre. Give it up for the superstar, Jimmy Taylor. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much for the great introduction. I'm very well. Just looking forward to Christmas. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm surviving, man. I'm surviving. Obviously, we've been trying to make this happen for a while, but I'm you're there everywhere. So just a busy little time at the moment, to be honest. So,
real life takes over.
It does, mate. It does, you know. But I got you here at last, and here we are. So let's get rolling. So, firstly, then, as I like to ask most guests, I guess obviously your forte now is wrestling. I just want to know basically, so how, where, when, why wrestling? How'd you get into it, mate?
So, you know, as everyone does as a kid growing up, you just stumble across it on the TV. Everyone talked about it in school.
What era was that? What era would that have been?
2 words: ruthless aggression.
There we are. Right, you are. Right, you are. I was a golden era guy. I was, you know, Warrior Hogan. I'm showing my age a bit now. Yeah. Like, you know, I remember my first match. I think it was Mysterio against Undertaker. It was on an episode of SmackDown. It was the show after WrestleMania. So it kind of worked out in the sense of like new storylines and new material. So it was that. I was just seeing Mysterio, for such a small guy, just to fly around taking on the Undertaker. I was like, oh, I believe in this guy. Yeah.
Unfortunately lost, but I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I always was aware of, you know, Rock, Austin, Triple H, Taker, Kane. But it was only probably about 2003 I started like watching it every week. It'd be SmackDown for 2 hours, and then Bottom Line then with Raw for 1 hour. But those are my earliest memories.
Wicked, man, wicked. Well, I was going to ask you that as well. That's what your first match that you remember was and everything. Undertaker at that time, what gimmick was he in? Was he still American Badass then? Or he was,
nice and clean. You can see it over about a 6-month period. He's growing it out.
Yeah. Waiting for that big comeback he's building up to as the dead man, like, yeah.
Yeah, by 2004 then he's fully committed back to the dark side.
Wicked, yeah. Best place for him, I think. You know, that's where he belongs, where his roots are. You know, but it's nice on the same man to when you're wrestling. I suppose as Mark Calloway, Undertaker, whatever you want to call him, to, you know, put a bit of his real life spin on it as well. I suppose a lot of people, you know, pissed all over that gimmick, but I quite liked it at that time, I think, but it just added to his character. It gave him something that, you know, there's a bit of American Badass with, I say the current Undertaker, he's retired now, but with the latest version we saw as well.
And I think in the era, the more you know, as we got into the Attitude Era and then Ruthless Aggression as well, when there's a bit more around about the wrestling instead, that you know, Undertaker could go, and maybe during your era it was a bit more, you know, he was gimmick, he was limited in what he was allowed to do, but you know, American Badass gave him a chance to maybe brawl, have a bit more fun as a character, and then as you go into those 03, 04, you know, he's having classics with, you know, up-and-comers like Orton, Jeff Hardy. Is a countless list of just the matches he has with everyone. It's, you know, golden nuggets, hidden nuggets.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. So that's how you started watching. At what point did you decide to have a crack at it? And how did it all come about? Where did you train and everything?
So as you grow up over time, you know, there's more interest as you get a bit older. And, you know, I just fell out of the product. I think, you know, when you mentioned like your Takers, you know, Guerrero was my all-time favorite.
Legend. God rest his soul.
Van Damme at the time, I think he moved on. So, you know, a lot of people that I, you know, idolized and loved that moved on. Then, you know, the network and, you know, YouTube, a bit more access to that. So I got back into it. The CM Punk pipe bomb is probably what drew me back into it. But then, you know, from what I was watching as a kid, more as a teenager going into my adult years, then you get to see the more behind the scenes stuff about, you know, the real life tensions. So certainly all over that. And my first experience in training, I started off in Welsh wrestling about 4 years ago.
Right.
And I just had a friend just message me that their local training facility was being set up, I think a couple of weeks after Mania. And he was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we go and just recreate what we all did as child in the schoolyard and stuff?" And the day come and give him a message on Facebook. He's like, "Well, what time are you thinking of getting ready?" And he's like, "I was never going in the first place. I was joking." And I was like, "All right, I want to go."
What a letdown, like.
Yeah. So I end up going, and by about 10 minutes in, I'm hooked straight away, and I'm back, going back through all the archives and reliving my childhood again.
Awesome stuff. Were you fit at the time, physical condition, like? Because I remember my first wrestling session, I went there and I had 0 cardiovascular, omelette and chips just before the session, didn't take any water, and I was blown up and gassed out just like, I don't know, 5 minutes into the warm-up, like,
No, so I think with me, I've always tried to go to the gym. I played a lot of football when I was younger.
That helps.
And so on. And I just come out of uni as well, so I had a lot of free time to go to the gym. So I think it's really hard to compare. Like you can go to the gym as much as you want, lift as much as you want, run as much as you want, football. Play 90 minutes and not be as tired. But when you go into a different sport or like a different art or something, the cardio is completely different. And
I've always said that about wrestling, Jimmy boy. Always. It's like
the mind as well. And,
because you're constantly thinking as well, and it's a lot of the times you're quite vocal as well. Whereas if you're in a normal sport, you shut you shut your mouth, you get on with whatever you're doing and focus 100% on that. But there's it's so much to think about as well.
It's very dynamic when it comes to maybe other sports or just fitness in general. There's a certain thing that you do, and you try and excel in that for that hour and a half. With wrestling, I was like, I gotta get flexible, I gotta get strong, I gotta get fast, big, skinny, all sorts. Like all of this just comes into your mind. I'm like, bloody hell. But I remember my my neck being sore the first time, doing the neck stretches, the rolls.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can't move for 2 days.
Yeah, been there, man. Trust me. I was like that as well. After my comeback in August as well, I hadn't done anything for a couple of years, and then it was just like, it's all muscle memory in it, it'd be fine. So I didn't do a lot of training. I went on a few runs and that's all, just to try and get some cardio. But by God, the aches, I was aching in places I didn't even know I had places. Yeah, that's it, the first bump. And I took the suplex off the top rope. What a way to come back. Like, well, I had to do something,
Yeah, I had a similar conversation with Chris Recall when he made his comeback in the summer.
Great to see him back, by the way, man. No, I've done a lot with him over the years. He's a good guy.
Top man. Like he's helped me out quite a lot in the last 6 months since I know him. But back in probably about April, May, again, his first session back, like just having a roll around in the ring. He was pretty sore then, but he said by the time he had his first match, then he was back in the swing of things.
That's it, isn't it?
And muscle memory does, but I think it's just getting through that first bump.
It is. Yeah, for me, I've had about 4 or 5 now since I come back, and each time they've got a little easier, and I've relaxed a little more as well. But any time away from it, I'm sure you'll agree, it's just like, oh, right, hang on. When you're getting back into it, then it's like, oh, I got to think about that. I got to think about this. You take it for granted, don't you? But that time away, I think I'd recommend to anyone, at least get in a ring and do a bit of training if you can, just because otherwise you'll make the mistakes that I made and be aching like a bitch for days. But
no omelette and chips for you next time.
Oh no, man, that was a big mistake. Funny enough, that was in 2002, 2003. That was just when that shows how much of an old bastard I am. That's just when you started watching, But so you started. So was your in-ring debut later with Welsh wrestling then?
Yeah. So I started around about April, May, and a lot of people say that they have a natural talent. It's just ducks to water. I was awful. Like I didn't think I was gonna last about 6 months. Like. Just everything, but then I think it was more just trying to look after myself outside the ring as well and trying to get a bit more knowledge. At the same time, I'm still like 21, 22, going out every weekend, trying to, chase the thrill of going out in Swansea all the time. But I probably made my debut in the 2018. It was a February half term. It was just, there was a show every day, just starting on Rumbles. And by the end of that week, I had done a show in Swansea, around the corner from House Millage.
Oh, awesome.
And I'll always have probably good memories of that because I was doing all the tickets as they were coming in. So I'm like, hello guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah, was that still with Welsh Wrestling?
Yeah.
That was with Welsh Wrestling as well, yeah?
And I'm doing all the tickets for them. So by the time the interval comes on, I sneak out, I get changed, and I'm out for a rumble. Then it was quite a good pop because everyone knew who I was. In the sense that I'm the first person that everyone saw was me doing the ticket. So that's probably one of the highlights of my career so far. Was that
brilliant, man, brilliant.
But that will always hold a place close to me, knowing it's a new local town.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. So what other promotions have you worked for? Obviously, I know you from Carnage, Pro Wrestling Carnage, new promotion kicked off in August. Who else have you worked for?
So the majority of my time has been spent with Welsh, but as their school closed down, I went to Dragon Pro for I got a couple of years. So Danny Jones, Mark Andrews, Wild Boar, great bunch of guys there.
Yeah, good guys, all good guys, doing good things.
Yeah, and as we've come back now out of lockdown, and there's more shows opening up. I've done a bit of work in Gloucester. I was at Slamdown Wrestling. Carnage is everyone's on that train at the minute, but still I try and spend as much time as possible at Welsh. They have shows nearly every weekend, and I try and go there as much as I can.
Yeah, fair play to Alan, right? Yeah, he's running it spectacular at the moment, and I've watched it grow. I was actually Alan's first champion when he started. It's before he rebranded to Welsh Wrestling. It was Pro Power Wrestling.
Yeah.
And doing small shows in like little clubs and what have you, and seeing how that's grown from that to what it is now. It's obviously Welsh Wrestling is amazing. My hats off to him for that.
And that is still there in sense of like Welsh will still run the big towns like around South Wales, North Wales, etc. But he still will go to the little towns and running in those little pubs and community centres. It's always good to make sure there's a show in maybe a little mining village.
Well, for people who perhaps can't get anywhere else,
Yeah, and it's like it's more like if you're looking at a little town, in the valley somewhere, may not necessarily be a wrestling audience, but it's local entertainment for them on the weekend, and if you can market it towards that, then certainly hats off to him for having such a good model on that.
That's it. Yeah, I think I done one for him. What I think was the last one I done for him. Is the place called Tumble?
Yeah, that's I think that's just outside Llanelli, Tumble.
Yeah. It's up that way. It is. Yeah, I had a match with Grizz on that one. Done my shoulder in again, and that was probably no, it wasn't the last one. I done one for Exposure then as well, but that was it then until Carnage popped up, But I just thought I got to be a part of that,
There's all over that at the minute.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Well, we'll talk about Carnage now, and obviously yourself, you're a regular on Carnage. I watched your match with the brilliant James Ellis, and I've got to say, without blowing smoke up arses, you were both absolutely phenomenal in that from start to finish. It was just an incredible match, possibly match of the night candidate. Also, I got to look at the latter part of the 6-man tag you did on the last show as well. Yeah. And I say that was match of the night, I would say, for me. Certainly got the best crowd reactions and everything as well. Are you enjoying Carnage at the moment? And what are you looking to get out of the promotion?
So, like I said, everyone's been all over Carnage at the minute. It's been great, since they've actually started shows. There's been a lot of, publicity around it over the last year. And now I believe that, everyone's played their part in terms of backing up what they want to do as a new brand of pro wrestling. And like I said, I met James Ellis about 18 months ago, and I didn't think the pair of us were in the best of shape. So by the time we got to, our match at the second Carnage show, like I said, we did everything in our power to make sure we tore the house down. And on the 6-man as well, like that 6-man felt a bit like a football match because there was a couple of boos for me as well at certain points. I know
he brought some people, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he paid for their tickets to get him in, but 1 minute we were working in the corner. I was like, I'm getting booed here. I was like, oh, I'll go to the other 3 then. They don't want to smoke. No, it's been great. In terms of what I want to do with Carnage, it's just more to try and get a name out there, and certainly I spoke behind the scenes about what I'm looking to do is maybe trying to get Welsh Wrestling and other promotions as further work. And the guys behind there, Danny and Aaron, they said if we can be a stepping stone and playing part in that, then that will certainly put me in a good light as, you know, a good hand, a good worker, and it certainly puts, you know, a good name on Carnage in the sense that, you know, they're creating up and coming talent to, you know, move on and to do, you know, new things. But you know, it's something different about Carnage that
Definitely.
The locker room's a very close knit mentality. Everyone's
it is, mate. It is. Yeah, it's got a great locker room. And in that locker room as well, what I like about it is we've got young upstarts, new to wrestling, new to the business, like yourself, James Ellis, so many others as well. You've got middle of the road guys as well who are in the middle of their wrestling careers and whatnot. You've got beat up old dogs like me. There's a place for everyone there, and there's a lot of experience there, and there's a lot of strong heads there, and there's a good bunch of guys there. It's a locker room which I'm not finding any arseholes in there either, you know, which is nice. Because in many locker rooms there are. I'm not saying in all of them, but occasionally you get the odd one. Like, you know, it's there's no egos or anything. I think for Carnage, like you say, if they can give people a stepping stone to other things, which I certainly believe they can, if they can give people like extra bookings to fill their bookings, get name talent in, which they have been doing as well, I think it's just like the land of opportunity, you know?
Oh, 100%. Like I said, even in the lead up to the shows, you know, a lot of us have tried to put, you know, a lot of time and effort, just trying to get the brand over. Like I've done, you know, a couple of promos, a couple of videos, trying to share as much as possible. Just, you know, if they've got more eyes on Carnage, then, you know, that means there's more eyes on myself, yourself, and everyone who's part of that locker room. So, you know, it is a team effort. Like,
it is,
you know,
man. It is.
Outside of that, you know, we're all certainly looking at, we've only had 3 shows.
Yeah.
You know, there's certainly more that we can do as well.
It feels like more than 3 shows though, man, doesn't it? Does it to you?
Yeah, like knowing about it in, you know, 2020 and like for the year and a half of like hype they've had, it does feel like they've been around for some time, but in reality it's only been 3 shows. But you know, they got a lot more planned for next year now, just talking to everyone around that.
Definitely, man. It just don't feel like a new promotion to me. It's you know, on show 1 it was like, all right, how's this gonna go?
Yeah,
is it gonna be okay? What's going to go wrong? Something's about to go wrong. Come on, it's you know, maybe backstage there are a few tweaks and everything, which Dan, I'm sure, will happily tell you about. But as far as the audience sat in that crowd and everything, they lapped it up. They loved it. They went home happy. And I think for a first show, it was easy. I'd give it a 9 out of 10, you know?
Yeah, and the fact like they were able to run that town again so soon after, you know, a lot of, you know, promotions may do every 6 months, but the fact they came back in about 6 weeks' time, and again it was still, you know, sold out weeks.
Yeah, that's it.
And there's certainly again a lot of hype behind that. So certainly all power to Danny and the guys.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, man. They're doing a good job. And like for myself, what I said, the reason I left wrestling, I know it's a cliche thing to say in the first place, the reason I left, though, it was like I weren't really enjoying it anymore. A lot of that was to do with the fact that I was promoting as well. So I had that promoter's hat on as well as that wrestler's hat. And there's a lot of balls to shuffle. And so I just thought, I'm not enjoying this no more. So, you know what? I never used the word retire, but I said, I'm going to step away for a bit. And I did. Yeah.
That's the word.
That's it. But no, I pop back now and then, but I never quite made the regular comeback. Now I have, and I'll be honest, I'm enjoying it now as much as I did when I first started. But the difference is now I've got all that experience as well. And it just makes it a bit easier now as well. And it's nice then wrestling the new guys as well. Like Danny, I trained Danny a lot of his training, you know, and to have a little match with him then as well. It's like, oh, yeah, you've done wonders. You've done a cracking job. You've come along great, like, you know, and to have him call things to me then as well. It's like, nice. And then JJ as well. Great worker. I had a fantastic match with him. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'd love to have another one. It's nice. It's nice to see and to get in there with these youngsters and not have the pressure of being a promoter as well, like, you know. So
I think everyone's like at a point now, they're starting to make their little lists of like who they want to have their say and who they want to face next now.
That's it.
You know, a couple of messages and conversations we exchanged with, you know, maybe somebody I want to work with in the future, but you know, it's before of, you know, different backgrounds and different experiences. So you know, all power to us, I guess.
That's it, exactly. I'll drink to that, brother. Cheers. But so now you've brought it up, not me. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. So obviously, myself not included. Who would you like to work with in the future in Carnage? Have you got your eye on anyone at all?
I think there's a handful, and I think there's maybe a bit of logic in terms of where we're at, maybe storyline and where we want to go in the future. So myself and James Ellis, we've had, well, he broke my arm. I had to miss the first show.
Mm.
You know, I got a bit of revenge on that on the second show. And because he got his little friends to come along for the 6-man tag.
That's it. Oh, didn't he just? Yeah.
Yes, he got pulled a fast one on me. So we're pretty much at a deadlock here. So, you know, certainly a rubber match is something that we'll both want to do. And I think a lot of people want to see that.
I like to see that.
Yeah, I think it will be, you know, something that we'll discuss. You know, if we could do it tomorrow, I'll be there straight away. But outside of that, Danny and Brewski Blanche, you know, the fact they've been in my business with James Ellis, I'm sure I'd like to.
I can relate to that, man. Yeah.
I'm sure I can have a couple of singles matches with them. Brewski Blanche has got a nice belt. That,
it looked good on you, man. It looked good on you.
And he hasn't defended it yet either. So
no, that's right. He hasn't. Yeah. So
you know, not for the cliche, but fighting champion. Where is
exactly.
it?
Hey, come on, fighting champion.
100%. Yes. Outside of that, you've got the dog snatcher, Darcy DeKill. In the last show, there's quite an image that hurts me a little bit. He's scaring my niece who was at the front. I'll have to post it on my socials, but
right, okay, making it personal then.
She was petrified, yeah. So I'm sure if I gave my little niece Phoebe a little tap on the shoulder and said, "Oh, do you fancy watching me beat up this little dog snatcher?" I'm sure we can do some business with that.
100%.
And yeah, like I say, a lot of guys. Kurt Atlas, absolute machine. I've trained with him. Great guy. Kenny Mantra as well. Except there's so many people in Carnage, and there's not enough shows at the minute.
I know, man. Yeah, more shows. New year now, more shows. Obviously, COVID has kicked in as well. Yeah. And that's had a detrimental effect on all of us, not just in wrestling, in life, like, you know, but wrestling for a while, same as theatre and everything as well. It was just, there's a big question mark hovering over it, wasn't it? But yeah, did that affect you a lot?
In a weird way, it probably done a lot more for me. So what happened to me was, in terms of my training and shows, etc., I've pretty much been on and off up until this point. 2018, I had quite a messy breakup with an ex-girlfriend, so I put it all on the shelf. I was like, if your mind's not there, there's no point in me trying to attempt it. With Welsh closing school at the time, I had to start from scratch in Dragon Pro. It's not like I could say, oh, I want to be in this class or do this. You know, you have to certainly start your way up from the beginnings. Got a bit of more enjoyment out of that. But then start of 2020, I tore my knee. I tore my MCL. Yeah, first session back. You know, just going through the moves and the bumps, and I took a drop kick off someone, and just, I don't know what happened to my knee, just went pop.
See, it's always in a silly move that, you know, you'd think if you're doing like something off the top rope to the outside into the front row or something, you tear your knee. But like with me, I got injured. I think I was doing a clothesline on someone. I was like, oh, what's happened? Pop.
Yeah, it was just a standard drop kick, took it like a champ, and then just like, pop, there's my knee. And,
man.
But luckily it wasn't anything major. It was about 6-8 weeks in a brace. But then, you know, as I'm trying out my rehab and stuff, you know, then, you know, we got that announcement in March about going into lockdown and stuff like that.
Didn't we just?
Yeah, so I kind of got involved quite a lot with DDP Yoga whilst it was closed, and pretty much changed my life.
Really? Yeah.
I'm pretty much that guy who used to try and lift as much as he could, however he can, you know, for as long as possible, and not be able to walk for 2 days. So just learning about, you know, conditioning, warming up, like just working certain muscles and like body parts that, you know, most guys, I don't think we did. Like I never used to train my hips or like my lower back and stuff. It'd always be like your arms, your chest, and, you know,
beach weights.
Yeah, all that stuff, all your upper body world.
Yeah, that's it there.
You know, just doing that, like just seeing a difference from having a bung knee to being able just to like touch my toes, to even get like my palms underneath there, all in a roundhouse pose, like just doing that every day, you know. And then as I got, so I think I must have lost about 2 or 3 stone over that time as well. Just once gyms reopened, I was lifting like a lot more for what my weight was compared to what I think I was near enough 200 pounds at one point, and now I've trimmed down quite a bit. But I certainly learned a lot more about my body and what, how you need to look after it. So COVID probably did a lot for me. It wasn't the same of not maybe having access to a ring and doing shows, but it probably gave me that chance. I'd finish work at 5 o'clock where I'm sitting now when I was working from home. Right behind me then it's just a nice area. Then there's my yoga mat and off I went.
Perfect, man. Perfect. It's done a lot. It's done a lot of things like that to people, though, isn't it? Where they've been like, right, what do I do now? And it's like me, for example, bored out of my skull. And it's just like, what do I do now? Right, I'm ordering a podcast mic. I'm ordering podcast gear.
Yeah.
I need to talk to people. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it gives you a bit of distraction, but it breeds a bit of creation and anew as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. And like I said, anyone who will ever want to get into wrestling, or maybe people who are struggling with like the Knicks and the girls, say give it a go. Like you said, Dallas Page has got a big following now, and you've seen all the transformations. All the guys in WWE,
definitely
they preach by it. Like I said, they vouch for it. So certainly anyone who wants to get into wrestling or any sort of fitness, that stuff is amazing. I
highly recommend it. Yeah.
I'd love to be an instructor one day if I'd have enough time during the day, but it's something I would love to consider. If there's a bit more experience behind me, just going to like different schools and just teaching that instead of doing the whole 300 squats, 100 press.
Yeah, awesome.
A bit more difference, core strength and balancing. We'll work around that.
Definitely, but it'd be rewarding as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
just giving something back, like as well. So let's look long term then. So wrestling, are you around for the long term? If so, let's look forward 5-10 years. Where do you see yourself? Where would you like to be?
Oh, for 5-10 years. Certainly I want to try and get as much work as possible, just knowing that I could work every weekend. So maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, certainly try and be a more of a regular fixture on Welsh wrestling. They've got a stacked roster at the moment. That's where I started. That's where I learned a lot more about the business, and probably what my opinion is in it now. So my long-term goal is to probably just go there and try and get more established as maybe being a good hand. Like I said, I'll go to their shows and not necessarily be on the cards, but I'll certainly help out. It's always a good day out just to watch wrestling for free.
Definitely, man, isn't it? Definitely. And if you can get on there, that's the place to get experience as well.
Oh, yeah, like I said,
the little things, which count.
He said, and you'll be surprised how many people don't maybe have experience in certain things outside of actual wrestling. So like ring jobs, just our show is produced, merchandising, etc. Like you can learn a lot of that just by helping out at shows. And if anyone ever goes in to set up their own promotion or helping somebody with a promotion, then then just by helping out other shows, this works if you do this, or maybe this not so much in this sort of audience. So I think it's just trying to learn as much as possible, but certainly getting as much work with Welsh. But like I say, there's no reason for me to go elsewhere and up and down the UK. But one day at a time.
One day at a time. Any aspirations to go overseas at all?
I think if there was a foundation, I'd certainly go. The real life job is a mortgage advisor. Like I said, that is something I'm quite passionate about outside of maybe wrestling. So I might have got a foundation on that to help people in what I do. So if there was never opportunity where I could, take a step away from that and give it a go elsewhere, I would. But I think it's important just to make sure that if you are going into wrestling, certainly if what's going on in your day job, your family, your mental state, etc. If that's all solid, then I'm sure you could certainly consider branching out, going abroad, or working a lot more elsewhere. So I think once I get a lot of maybe things such as a house, a bit of more of a permanent foundation, certainly I'd be all up for it.
So it's a possibility.
Yeah, I'd 80%.
Excellent stuff. 80%. That's a large percentage, man. We'll go with that. Brilliant stuff. Do you still watch the current product, the wrestling at the moment at all?
Yeah, I try my best to watch Raw and SmackDown every week. It's just more, I try and just watch what people are doing more, like what's like the pop culture of wrestling, if you put it that way, what's maybe relevant, what's being used, just so if I try and have my matches, I try and do the opposite. I'm very much like, I don't want to follow certain trends or
don't want to be a carbon copy, like.
Yeah, like you said, in terms of, you've got 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, NXT, then you've got AEW and all sorts as well. There's a lot of wrestling. I have interest in football and other stuff as well. So I try and keep up to date in terms of what maybe they're doing, what latest gimmicks and catchphrases are and all of that. But it's up to me then to maybe digress from that and try and put a spin on it. Like I said, I love 80s and 90s wrestling more than anything.
Yeah, me, man, definitely.
Yeah. So I like Steamboat's one of my favorites.
Awesome, legendary.
World of Sport, Les Kellett, like I get a lot of inspiration from him. And Rick Rude's probably one of my favorite heels. But you got the network, just roll back. I've been watching all the Ruthless Aggression documentaries, and it's just making me watch back some old pay-per-views I used to watch all the time.
That's it. It's nice bit of nostalgia, nice nostalgia buzz. It goes a long way. So what do you think of the current product at the moment, WWE, first of all?
It's really high. I say it's up and down, like in terms of how it goes. I think SmackDown's got a bit more consistency in terms of Roman's pretty much over. Is a good.
Yeah, they took their time with that, though, didn't they, to get him there now, and now he's found his place, like,
And it's a very simple story in terms of what they do on SmackDown. He usually opens the show and ends it in some way. And then you've got maybe the filler matches and other storylines in between that. But I think there's probably a lot more quality with SmackDown being a 2-hour show. But sometimes Raw, you're looking at 40-second matches, and who gets over? I'm quite a traditional fan of. I'm not really into big gimmick matches and multi-man, all sorts, and very much like, a singles and a tag is very much what you need, and tell a story from that. But Raw, I think, needs a bit of work. But there's a couple of guys I like on there, like Randy. I think WWE have always been great for strange bedfellows when it comes to tag teams. Like they always say, the tag team division's not all of this, but there's a list of tag teams like Team El No, RK Bro now, which will always like stand the test of time, in my opinion, maybe rather than, your established tag teams that have like tagged for years. I think I've always enjoyed that. So if there's a story there, then and it's easy to follow. But I think NXT as well has gone through a bit of a transition as well. But
yeah, Vince is taking it over now, isn't he?
Yeah, the way I see it is that a lot of the guys that they're trying to get over and establish, they're all athletes rather than wrestlers who've got that 10-year experience, and in 2-3 years time you'll see them all main event in WrestleMania. Like you've got Steiner's son, got that
he's looking good
as well. There's 3 or 4 of them. It's like OVW all over again. Like you can see the star power of them straight away. Not necessarily be.
What was their catchphrase now? The superstars of tomorrow today, when it OVW.
The superstars of tomorrow live today. Yeah, it's like what's the documentary on the weekend for that. But a lot of them may be protected with what their characters are at the moment, but once they find their stride, they're certainly going to be on Raw, SmackDown, main event, and all the pay-per-views. You can just tell who's got it and who hasn't.
Definitely.
But, that will come.
Awesome stuff. Flipping the channel then. AEW. What's your thoughts on AEW? You a fan?
I'm not a fan.
No, I know. See, I'm the other way around. I don't really watch WWE anymore, but I catch up on AEW. I don't watch it religiously, but like you said earlier, stuff is available now on YouTube and everything, and it just gets suggested to me, or if I'm watching something, it'll just lead into something else. So I keep more up to date on that.
I'm more of an old school fan in terms of, I'm more for the storyline and how the build up to it. I think with AEW that they try and make every show like a WrestleMania. They'll try and go over the top, but I don't know, some of the stuff's just a bit silly for me. Sometimes I know Wrestling can be a variety show, but if you want to try and cater to a more of a worldwide audience, there's certain stuff I don't want to be showing my friends.
Nah, that's a fair shout, man. That's a fair shout.
Like I said, I think it's more Jim Cornette and his reviews rubbing off on me every week. And,
I love Jim Cornette.
He's got a mind, and a lot of guys in AEW are like I said, MJF's absolute great heel, and you've got like your Jungle Boys, and it's good to see like people like Christian and CM Punk coming back, but I don't want it turning into WWE from 10 years ago and they're bringing back all these names. But again, that's a company who's only about 2 years in the business. You know, all this stuff takes time, and
Of course it does. Yeah, it's got to grow. You know, you don't just plant the seed and have a massive flower, do you? You know, it takes time.
You know, if the Cayman show has a catch up with myself in 6 months, I could be saying, "Oh, I love it."
Yeah, well, exactly, and I'm sure we will. You know, so it's never a one-off on you, mate. You know that.
100%.
But all right, going back to you then. So, if you could have a wrestling match with any wrestler in the world, past or present, alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh, that'd be Guerrero, hands down.
Yeah, didn't even have to think about it.
No, he's my favorite. Like I grew up idolizing him. Like just looking out to my living room now, I used to do like frog splashes and all sorts.
Awesome stuff. All been there.
Yeah, and I must have been about 10, 11 when he passed, and I think it's everyone has their own heroes and stuff growing up. But I think when you have somebody who died whilst you're still a kid, I think that probably impacts you longer for long term, because you know I literally was obsessed with him growing up, and you know it's I get upset about it all the time, just like seeing all the tributes to him, because everyone loved him in that sense.
He was brilliant, man. He was fantastic, and I'm glad he made it to the top in the end as well. You know, before disaster struck. Like,
it's amazing, and I think the great thing about it is that a lot of people still try and do as many tributes to him. Not so much to maybe disrespect to, you know, other wrestlers that have passed away, you know, maybe on an equal, great or lesser stature, but the fact he tries to they try and keep him relevant in today's age when it's been like nearly 15 years, I think that shows how much of an impression he put on people, and it would have been an honor in a different universe to lock up with him somewhere.
Awesome, man. Well, it's a match I would have liked to see, man. That'd be interesting.
I'd even tag him with him. Just anything, like just have that 30 seconds to be there with him.
Fantastic, man. Man, it's a shame we can't make it happen, you know. But God rest his soul. Another one gone too soon, you know.
100%.
All right, and I'm gonna steal a question now from my friend Chris Teltdrop Blay. You may know him. He's a host of Once Upon a Turnbuckle. He always has. So shout out to you, Chris, and shout out to Once Upon a Turnbuckle. Yeah. Obviously, this is Jimmy Taylor. You have met before. So yeah, he's probably asked you this question already. Then, all right. So it's I already know one name. I think your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. Give me your 4. So I'm guessing Eddie Guerrero is up there, hands down. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's a given.
I answer this in 2 ways. So I'll go through what my favorites are and biggest inspiration. So it's Guerrero for all the above. Van Damme, Rob Van Damme was my probably other favorite. I had my Raw favorite and then my SmackDown. So
yeah, I got a good Van Damme story if you want it after as well.
Oh yes, please. But he said I think I just enjoyed frog splashes. I was just born froggy.
Awesome, hey, nothing wrong with that.
It was just, I think with those two, it wasn't even more about their ring style and being high flyers. Like their gear was just like crazy, like Van Damme singlets, etc.
Yeah, they were awesome, weren't they?
Guerrero's entrance, like just the whole like the flames on the tights. That's pretty much what I'm inspired to now. So certainly those two. The other two I'd probably add on Steamboat in terms of just firing up and just trying to tell a story, and you know some of his matches with Flair, like early WCW stuff, the Savage match at Mania.
The Savage match was phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite match is him and Rick Rude, who's number 4 on this. Bash at the Beach. They have like a
Iron Man match. Is that the one? Yeah, I remember that.
Just the last 4 or 5 minutes is just
1992, I want to say.
Yeah, for the US title.
Yeah, that's right.
Great match. And yeah, Rude as well in terms of a heel, just the stuff you'd be able to get away with.
Another one gone too soon there, you know.
It's selling as well, that atomic drop. Oh,
perfect, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, when he takes an atomic drop. But those are my 4. And then I have my top 4 when it comes to maybe what the GOATs are. The greatest.
Yeah, go on. Well, I'd be interested to hear that one as well. Then go on, let's spill.
I see that the best wrestlers are probably the ones that make the most money in terms of how the business is and what it's all about. So I try to break it down on these 4. So I'll put Austin on there as you can't, if you make a company public, then you know you've made a company billions of dollars. You can't quantify that. I'll put Hogan for the whole 80s, early 90s, the whole Hulkamania, just the fact that WWE were doing like 3 shows a day at one point is just
it's crazy, man.
Yeah, and I'll put Cena on there as well, just for the 20 years, just how he's been able to do that non-stop, and the stuff outside the ring as well, just the ethic. That's the guy to look up to. And I put Lesnar on there just because I don't know how somebody can make so much money and work so little. How can you be, like I said, the best wrestlers make the most money, but he's working less. So that's my 4 from a financial standpoint, just in terms of their impact.
Good stuff. It's interesting. It's interesting, the 2 sides of the coin you've given me there as well, So good analogy on the second one as well. So all right, before we do wrap it up then, RVD story quickly. First of all, me and my friend Ryan McCarthy, he's passed away now, God rest his soul as well. Another lad gone too soon. We were walking around Cardiff. There was a WWE show, and we were walking through one of the arcades there then, and he went, "It's Rob Van Dam." I went, "Hey, Rob." And then Sabu comes up to me, he goes like, "Shh, can you get us any marijuana?" I was like, "Well, so I probably know a guy, yeah." He said, "Okay, can you make a call?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries." So we ended up walking around Cardiff while I was on my mobile phone, trying to get Rob Van Dam and Sabu some marijuana, which we managed to in the end, by the way. Someone took a drive for us, and we managed to get it for them. They asked then, as they were going to the arena, Rob Van Dam said, "Oh, can you get us any pain pills?" I was like, "I probably know a guy, yeah." So he said, "What's your number?" I said, "Here's my number." I give him my card at the time because I was wrestling quite regular at the time then as well. Yeah. He said, "Oh, Sabu, you're a worker, you're a wrestler." I was like, yeah. So one of the best, put a word in, blowing smoke up my own ass. But I knew what I was. I was very grounded. But it was just trying to take an opportunity. But yeah, so me and my friend then went to, we walked them to the back of the arena. They didn't know where it was. So they went into the back of the arena, fist bumps and goodbye. All fans like, who are these 2 guys then with them? And just walked off without swagger. Got to this pub called the Slurping Toad in Cardiff. We had a beer each. My phone rings then, withheld number. I'm like, "Hello? Hey, it's Rob Van Dam." I was like, "Hiya, Rob." All right. It was like, I went, "Van Dam. What can I do for you, sir?" He's like, "Yeah, could you get those pain pills?" I said, "I tell you what, leave it with me. I'll make a couple of calls. Give me a call back, and we'll sort that." Managed to get them anyway. They said, "Can you meet us around the back of the arena?" So I met them around the back of the arena then. Me, my mate Ryan, and this other guy who'd got the pain pills. Met him around the back of the arena. Only Sabu come out. He came out in a wrestling t-shirt. His hair was tied up in some bun effort, and he had his wrestling boots on and these purple polka dot wrestling tights that he used to wear, them baggy ones,
Yeah.
He came out, all fans everywhere, like, "What's going on here? What's going on here?" We snuck in this dark car park, then we did around the corner, did the exchange and everything, and then fist bumps again, and he just ran back in. Random day, man. Absolute random day. But yeah, that's my Rob Van Dam.
What year is this? Story. Like 06, 07?
Oh, what would it have been? It's probably thereabouts, yeah. Because the match there was RVD, Sabu, and Tommy Dreamer, in a 6-man against, I can't remember who they were facing. It would have been somewhere between 2005, 2006.
Maybe in that. I think they did that New Breed, old school.
Yeah, I think it was thereabouts. Like, yeah, it was a random day that was, like, but it was an interesting day, to say the least.
As I said previously, I think one of the reasons I grew out of it at the start was people like Van Dam leaving and so on.
Yeah.
So you played a part in that. You played a part.
Yeah, maybe I did, right?
Maybe the title getting stripped off him.
But hey, it's Rob Van Dam. I couldn't say no to him, could I?
No.
If I had to grow it myself in an instant and get a seed from somewhere, I would have done it for him, Not that that's what I do for people watching or anything, but it was interesting. But you know what? He was a sound guy, down to earth. No, didn't seem to be egotistical or nothing, just chatting to us normally, walking through Cardiff. We were with them for about an hour, And in terms of, I was quite heavily into the product at the time as well. And I'm talking about the WWE, not weed, by the way. I was quite heavily into the product at the time. And to be walking around with two guys who you've idolized for years, because I love DCW as well, original ECW. To be walking around Cardiff with them, people stopping you, having photos with them, and then wondering whether they should have a photo with us or not as well. Jumped in a couple anyway. It was just bizarre, man. But they were sound. Great guys. I thoroughly enjoyed that day. But yeah, I just thought, being a Rob Van Dam fan, you might appreciate that one.
That's great. That's him and Dallas Page I want to meet. I think those are like on my any sort of. I think that's probably realistic to meet like a convention or something, or come over. Like, so I was supposed to go to Fozzy on Friday. And
yeah, I did. I read in the group chat on Carnage that you were meant to go there. Yeah,
but, a lot of us supposed to go, and we all thought it was a work when we seen it, because Jericho was on Twitter like all day, and I was like, he can't be in hospital if he's like tweeting. But then I think his voice just went by the end of it.
Nightmare. That's no good, is it?
Yeah, it's not like it's going to happen in 6 months' time. It'll be in like 10 years now.
They did play there a few years ago. That might have been about 2005, I think, as well, or 2006. They played in the Party Pavilion there, didn't they?
Oh, did they? I never knew.
Yeah. It was at that point that Jericho had fallen out of love with wrestling himself. It was at that stage.
I'm about 10 minutes away from Party Pavilion.
Are you?
Yeah, I literally right on the front of Swansea.
Right though. Yeah, they played there. They done a gig there, but I didn't get to go to it. Like a few people I know did though. But good stuff. Excellent stuff. All right, before I let you be on your merry way, good sir. Anything else you want to chuck in there? Any plugs, shout outs, acknowledgements? So where can people find out more about the superstar Jimmy Taylor?
Yeah, so my social medias, Facebook, Superstar Jimmy Taylor. Same for Instagram as well. Twitter is a little bit shorter. It's Superstar Jimmy T. Can't fit it all in. But Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I'm certainly all over those as much as I can. Certainly got some plans over the next few weeks to start dropping some merch and starting getting a bit more footage out in the next few weeks. So if any Jimmy Taylor fans are interested in some T-shirts and some other bits of merchandise, they'll certainly be available. Probably maybe the start of the year now. Certainly pricing up those gimmicks at the minute. But the designs are there.
I'm taking XL.
Oh, absolutely. And outside of that, a lot more news coming around about maybe bookings, matches. Try and do a couple of MVs and highlight packages and some promos. So in the next few weeks, I'll be a bit busy with all of that as we wind down for Christmas. And it's certainly available for any sort of bookings if any promoters are interested. The great thing about me, I own a 7-seater car. So if you need 3 singles, a referee, and a 6-man as a main event,
perfect.
We can drive you all up there.
There's your package delivered to your door.
Absolutely, and it keeps those expenses low. So certainly available to work anywhere. I'm always looking for new opportunities. And certainly shout out to all my fans, my biggest fan, Phoebe May, my little niece, and bring on Carnage. I think that's what we're all looking forward to in February. So certainly get your tickets if you're in the Port Talbot area, TDM Studios.
TDM Studios, live and let tie die, TDM.
Nice.
Excellent stuff, brother. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, mate, as always. I'll see you at Carnage. I won't see you this side of Christmas, I don't expect. So you and your family have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming on, good sir.
Thank you.
Top man. Superstar Jimmy Taylor on the Cayman Show, ladies and gentlemen. Woohoo!